All right, researchers, today we're going to begin researching to help us answer our Unit 2 guiding question. How do birds use their body parts to survive? Your first job as a researcher is to learn about feathers. So, instead of just answering how they use their body parts, we're going to make it more specific today. And we're going to say, how do birds use their feathers to survive? That's going to be our focus for today. If we were wondering, where could we possibly find an answer to this question? We've learned so much about birds already. Where could we find an answer to how do birds use their feathers to survive? Right, in a book. We've been reading lots of books, learning lots about birds. So we could go to another book to find out about how birds use their feathers. We could also watch videos. We've seen a few videos about birds and how they live outside in nature. Or even talking to someone that's an expert on birds. By the end of these 3 units that we're going to do, I'm sure you guys will be bird experts. Now, from our past unit, we learned that researchers gather evidence from the text. And another word for a research text is source. A source is something that we use to get information to answer a research question. So, our book for today is our source. Today we're going to read aloud parts of a news source so we can answer the research question, how do birds use their feathers to survive? Our learning target is I can determine the main idea of the text feathers, not just for flying. That's our source for today. Remember, the main idea just means what the text is mostly about. Listen carefully as I read and think about the main idea. Feathers, Not Just for Flying by Melissa Stewart and illustrated by Sarah B. Brannon. Birds and feathers go together like trees and leaves. Like stars in the sky. All birds have feathers, but no other animals do. Most birds have thousands of feathers, but those feathers aren't all the same. That's because feathers have so many different jobs to do. These are all different kinds of feathers. There's a peacock feather. Here is a swan feather, a red-tailed hawk, a blue jay, a cardinal, a wood duck, a rosy-faced lovebird, and a dark-eyed junco. Feathers can warm like a blanket. On cold, damp days, a blue jay stays warm by fluffing up its feathers and trapping a layer of warm air next to its skin. Or cushion like a pillow. This is Wood Duck in Lake Bemidji, Minnesota. A female wood duck lines her nest with feathers she plucks from her own body. These feathers cushion the duck's eggs and keep them warm. Feathers can shade out sun like an umbrella. As a hungry tricolored heron wades through the water in search of food, it raises its wings high over its head. The feathers block out reflections from the sky and shade the water. This makes it easier to spot tasty fish and frogs. And here's an example of a heron doing just that. This is a tricolored heron in the Florida Everglades. Or feathers can protect like sunscreen. On sunny summer afternoons, red-tailed hawks spend hours soaring through the sky in search of prey. Their thick feathers protect their delicate skin from the sun's harmful rays. And these are red-tailed hawks in Shiprock, New Mexico. Feathers can soak up water like a sponge. On sizzling summer days, a male sand grouse cools off by soaking his belly feathers in a watering hole. Then the proud papa flies to his nest. While dad guards his chicks, the little ones suck on his feathers to quench their thirst. Wow. You ever think a feather could hold water? An American bittern always cleans up after it eats. Its feathers have brittle tips that crumble into a dusty powder. The powder is perfect for scouring away the dirt and slimy fish oil that sticks to its feathers. And this is American bittern in Tualatin River, Oregon. Feathers can distract attackers like a bullfighter's cape. A dark-eyed junco distracts its enemies by flashing the bright white feathers on the outside of its tail. Then it quickly covers the feathers and darts off in the other direction. Or hide a bird from predators like camouflage clothing. A female cardinal's dull grayish tan body and feathers blend in with her forest home to help her hide and protect her nest from enemies while she sits on her eggs. Feathers can make high-pitched sounds like a whistle. Wow. When a male club-winged mannequin wants to get a female's attention, he leans forward, raises his wings over his back, and rapidly shakes them. As feathers with ridges rub against feathers with stiff, curved tips, a squeaky chirping sound trills through the air. Here's what his feathers look like. And here's what the bird looks like when he's making that sound. Or feathers can attract attention like fancy jewelry. A peacock's bright, beautiful tail feathers make him easy to spot. At mating time, a female is attracted to the male with the biggest, most colorful fan of feathers. This is his fan of feathers. And that's one peacock feather. Feathers can dig holes like a backhoe or carry building supplies like a forklift. After bank swallows mate, they make a home together. First, the male uses his bill and the tough feathers on his lower legs to dig a 2-foot-long tunnel in a stream bank. He pushes the dirt out with his wings. Then the female builds a nest of straw, grasses, and leaves at the end of the tunnel. Most birds carry nesting materials in their beaks, but not the female rosy-faced lovebird. When she finds grass, leaves, or strips of bark, she tucks them under her rump feathers and flies back to her nest. So here's the bank swallow making his nest deep in that 2-foot hole. And here's the rosy-faced lovebird carrying those things for her nest behind her tail feathers. Feathers can help birds float like a life jacket. Mute swans glide smoothly across the water surface. Pockets of air trapped between their feathers help these graceful birds stay afloat. And this is a mute swan in Chesapeake Bay, Maryland. Or feathers plunge downward like a fishing sinker. Most birds make a special oil to waterproof their feathers, but not the ahina. The weight of its wet feathers helped a hungry hunter dive deep down in search of fish, crayfish, and shrimp. And this bird lives in Martin, Louisiana. Feathers can glide like a sled or sprint across the snow like snowshoes. Emperor penguins have tightly packed belly feathers that form firm, slick surfaces. The feathers make it easy for these birds to slide across ice and snow. Each autumn, ptarmigans grow a thick layer of feathers on top of their toes. Like snowshoes, the feathers increase the size of the bird's feet so they can shuffle across the snow instead of sinking in. So there are those penguins, and there's the ptarmigan. But most of all, feathers can give birds the lift they need to race across the sky. Kinds of feathers. Many scientists study birds, and they are learning new information every day, just like you. Right now, not all scientists agree about the best way to classify types of feathers, but here's one system that many scientists use. They have tiny filiplume feathers, stiff bristle feathers, soft, fluffy down feathers that we talked about, semi-plume feathers that work with down feathers to keep birds warm and dry, contour feathers that give a bird its shape and colors, and flight feathers on a bird's wings, lift it up and move it forward. Flight feathers on the tail help a bird steer and keep its balance. Wow, that was a lot of information about feathers. So now I told you to think about what was the main idea of this text. What is the author mainly trying to get us to understand and know about feathers? Right, the feathers have lots of different jobs, and they help birds survive in different ways. What are some of the jobs that feathers help birds do? Exactly. Some feathers help them swim. Some feathers help them fly. Some feathers help them dig tunnels in the sand at a beach. Who would have thunk it? Our second learning target for today is I can describe the structure of the text. When we know how a text is organized, we can easily find the information we need to help us answer our question. As I look through our text, I know that we learned about headings and pictures and photographs and captions. Do you see any of those things on these pages? Let me flip to a different page and just see. Yes, I see headings. I also see small captions under the pictures. But are all of these pictures the same? Is this page just like the page before it? Or the page after it? No, the heading is still at the top, but the caption might be in a different place, or the photograph isn't up here on one page and down here on another page. They still are giving us the same information, and we understand how this text is organized. By understanding how the text is organized, it helps us know the feathers' jobs, okay? The text at the top, our heading, tells us what job these feathers are doing on each page. Some feathers were distracting attackers, and some hid birds like camouflage clothing. Other feathers soaked up water like a sponge or cleaned up messes. Some shaded out sun like an umbrella or acted like sunscreen. Using those headings in the text boxes and captions gives us more information on what kind of bird has those types of feathers. Now today in your work time, because we've learned so much about the different jobs that feathers have, I want you to do your best at sketching a feather. I'll post some of the pictures from our book, but I want you to sketch a feather any feather you choose and tell me 3 jobs that we learned feathers can do. In this book, we talked about a lot of different jobs, and we'll go back over it to talk about just certain jobs at certain times. But I want to see what you guys remember from the text today. It was great talking with you guys. I'll see you at math time.